So Sander Berge is not a name that any Manchester United fan would have had on our list this summer. What I'm going to do in this video is run through the full story linking him with the move to United now that we moved on from Manuel Ugarte. And I think what's become clear to me is that this Sander Berge approach from United is very much coming from the recruitment team. And I'll explain exactly what I mean in this video. You can let me know in the comments whether you want United to sign Berge. I mean, some United fans want us to sort of move away from the big name signings and maybe sign players who are considered under the radar. I wouldn't really put Berge in that category. He's 26. He was in the Premier League last season with Burnley. But the full story of the links to United, let me explain those. Because it all starts with, of course, United moving away from a pursuit of Ugarte. David Ornstein confirmed that, and confirmed that we were moving elsewhere because we're not paying 60 million euros for Ugarte. We never were going to pay that. It's just an outrageous price that they have put on his head, and they were never going to get that. Anyway, Laurie Whitwell came with the news that Man United were looking and had already contacted Sander Berge's camp in terms of a potential move. And the article here. Berge has emerged as a surprise candidate on United's list of options. Club officials have already made contact. He's ranked highly in a series of metrics, including dribbles and pressured pass accuracy. And you go down here, and there's a little bit more about how fast he is, which is kind of irrelevant. But that mention there was followed up by James Ducker in the Telegraph, saying that Berge is on that list. And I'm also going to speak about the other players on that list. Richard Rios from Palmeiras. You got Martin Zubimendi. You got Sofian Amrabat. But Berge. First of all, let's quickly compare him to Ugarte. You can see where their profiles are similar and where Ugarte is better and where Berge is better. Ugarte with those defensive actions, absolutely right at the top level, 96th percentile. Carrying, Berge is better. Forward passes, Berge is better. And key passes, Berge is better, as well as in the duels. And one thing that's just debunk this straight away. People trying to say, oh, Sander Berge is just Scott McTominay. I mean, he's not. I mean, he absolutely isn't. Not even slightly. Comparing the profiles there of Berge and McTominay. And you might say, Sam, you're looking at data too much. But I guarantee you this is what Manchester United's recruitment team are doing behind the scenes as well. Data, you might not like the data, but data is massively important in understanding whether a profile is the right fit, whether a player is the right fit for a club. And Manchester United are going to be doing that, but Berge is not McTominay. Anyway, when I was saying about the stats here, there are certain stats that will stand out, and maybe United will be looking at it going, well, we could see how that could fit. The pass completion, long passes being in the 96th percentile. United are going to be using a lot more switches this season. Start seeing some in pre-season. Berge ticks that box. Pass completion medium, 86th percentile. 83rd percentile for pass completion. 74th for progressive carries. You go over here, 91st percentile for aerials, 1. And we need a battler. We need someone strong who's out of possession as well, which might well go back to this stat here, saying that he was the 10th fastest of all players at top speed. It strikes me as Berge's, he might have a good top speed, but his acceleration is no particularly good. This one is a stat that stands out for me. Right, post-recovery ball retention. When they win the ball, do they hold on to it? Sander Berge tops the list in the Premier League. Well, actually, the top 5 leagues. Beat Granit Xhaka. Beat Rodri. When he gets the ball, when he wins the ball, he keeps the ball. And Sander Berge, as I said, is not going to be a name that is on anybody's list. And was nowhere near my list either. But I think people losing their marbles over the idea of signing him feels a bit excessive. I think to go from United looking at potentially signing Ugarte to signing Sander Berge will be considered a drop-off for a lot of United fans. But truth be told, they're kind of different types of players. And you know what I would say about this list of players here? From Ugarte to Fofana to Berge to Rios to Zubimendi to Amrabat, 1 or 2 other unnamed candidates. They're all kind of different types of players. It's like, what midfielder are United exactly looking? Because in my opinion, we're looking for one specific player. We are looking for a player to complement Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes and to complete that midfield. And all these midfielders kind of slot into that a little bit differently. Certainly Fofana, who's more like a number 8 than he is a number 6. But Sander Berge, right? If Manchester United were to sign him, would I be offended? No. If the price was right. And if United could bring him in for 20 million, look, it would be a squad depth signing and nothing more than that. Would he come in and start for Manchester United? Well, I suppose it depends if Casemiro stays, which I really hope doesn't happen, or whether we sign anybody else. But in my opinion, Manchester United could and should be signing, two central midfielders this summer. Now, I did a video the other day looking at a list of players. I spoke about Daniel Balocca. I spoke about Morten Frendrup from Genoa. I spoke about Anton Stack from Hoffenheim. And if Manchester United are going to be looking at Sander Berge, who got relegated. And look, this weird, if you got relegated with Burnley, or what United are doing looking at relegated players. Just because a team got relegated, it doesn't mean that there aren't players inside that squad who in a better environment, better coaches, can be better players. Just because a player plays in the Championship doesn't mean they are not a good player. Andy Robertson going to Hull. Eze going to Palace. Elise going to Palace. Gehi going to Palace. Wharton going to Palace. Man, they've nailed that. The Championship recruitment, I think they have the absolute best. Now, it's not to say that Sander Berge is the answer to our midfield problems, because he is not. All right? I think any United fan, even though it's an optimistic United fan, wouldn't suggest that. However, as a squad signing for around about 20 million, would I get offended by it? No. But I would still think that Manchester United need more this summer than just Sander Berge. And I've kind of felt that the whole way through. We need two central midfielders and we need two centre-back signings this summer. All right? We've already got Lenny Yoro in. We may well get De Ligt in. Let's find out. But if Sander Berge comes in, and that's one of the midfield signings, and we can get him, as I said, if we can get him for 20, I think Sheffield United paid 22 mil from Genk. Then he went to Burnley for 12 mil, and they've just been relegated. United should be able to get a deal done in the region of 10 to 20 mil. But if we're looking at him, then we should be looking elsewhere. And maybe that's one of the names on that list, the one or two other unnamed candidates. That's what James Ducker from The Telegraph says. But I just think that there has been a lot of outrage on the Sander Berge links. And in my opinion, I think this is being heavily driven by the data and recruitment team. It's not going to be a target that Ten Hag was throwing forward, or even Van Nistelrooy, or Rene Hake. It's going to be coming from within the club saying, look, we've looked at the metrics and we've looked at the type of player that we think we need in this midfield. And Sander Berge ticks a lot of those boxes. I think we should explore it. Let's speak to his representatives and see what happens. It may well go no further. All right? And it may well just be the only video that we do on Sander Berge. But if United decide that he could be a good squad depth signing, and that's what I would consider him as, then for 20 million, I don't think United fans should lose any sleep over it. I don't think we're going to sign them, in my opinion, I don't think ever were going to sign the level of midfielder this summer that could be that top level that completes the midfield. I just don't think we had enough money. And Ugarte, it could have happened for around 30, 40 million, which they didn't want to do. And they won't do. And maybe their tone will change a little bit later in the summer. But what's your opinion on the links with Sander Berge? I know a lot of you are going to be underwhelmed, and part of me is underwhelmed as well. Maybe it will work out, maybe not. But at 20 million, it might be a risk worth taking.